Hey y'all, welcome to First Comes Love, Then Comes Marriage podcast. My name is Lindsay Jackson.
And I'm Aaron Jackson.
And we are on our final countdown of season 5, Clichés and Realness. This is number 3, 3, 2, 1. That's all we got left.
Wow.
So, third to last episode of season 5. And the cliche, the saying of the episode is, you can be right or you can be happy. You can be right or you can be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. What you think?
I go by this.
Yeah, you
this
do.
This is one of those things that I don't know if I say it this way, but I say a version of it, which is basically choose your battles. I know that in arguments that it's just a misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. So, but I also know that we both want the same goal, the same end goal. We might not want the same goal in the argument, but we want the same end goal as a couple. Why are you making that face?
Because you did a whole you focused it in on a very specific relationship, as in us. Because this is a complete relationship saying that I'm like, you could use it at work with your coworkers who maybe don't want the same thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. You can use it
That's why people go to work. To get money. Exactly. We all want the same thing. Everybody want to get their money.
Yeah. They might go about it different ways, but I understand. Okay, so in totality, you think most of the time, if you're in an argument or disagreement, you want the same thing with the other person. I don't know about that. It could be like a political disagreement. It could be a religious disagreement. But okay, let's go with your saying for right now. Choose your battles because most of the time you want the same thing.
And it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's rarely worth it where I'm like, when I'm sacrificing happiness. Like if this is the choice, then I'm always going to try to choose the happiness. Mm-hmm. One thing I say to some of my employees is like, the only decisions that I'll kind of push back on are like things that it's like, how do you sleep at night? Like morally wrong decisions and stuff like that are attacking my character. Mm-hmm. If I have to do something that like really attacks my character, like if a job is like, oh yeah, fire all the black people, or something crazy like that.
Right.
But if there's policies like everybody has to wear all black shoes, and all black non-slip shoes, but I'm like, oh well, I got these colorful non-slip shoes. They're still non-slip. But why am I fighting it? Like, if they're like, oh yeah, it's for safety reasons. We're like, well, mine is non-slip and this one is non-slip. You could go back and forth, but it's like, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I also put things in place. Like if it's important to you, it's important to me. I think that kind of helps with, would you rather be happy or right?
Yeah.
Because I might be thinking that this is like going on trips or something like that. I'm like, man, we don't got money for that. We need to budget for this, da da da. And I might be right in the sense of, yeah, we don't have the right budget and this and that, but sometimes you got to look outside the numbers and you got to look at, okay, if this doesn't happen, case in point, my basketball, right? We have to move a lot of things around for me to play basketball on Saturday. But if I didn't play basketball on Saturday, even though like financially it kind of hurts sometimes, and then we got to find babysitters and like it takes away from family time. What is it going to take away if I didn't have that unicorn space?
Right. If you lost parts of yourself.
Yes.
Week by week by week.
So I do believe in this one. It's almost like cost risk analysis.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like it's like that. Sometimes I sit back and I think like, okay, what is Lindsay doing right now? Do I really agree with it? And then I'm like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, how is this going to affect me? And you could always you could choose your action, but you can't choose the consequences of that action. And that's part of because nobody's fortune tellers, but I try to execute things. I do this at work and at home. I try to do it with if I'm buying into your plan, then I'm gonna execute it to the best of my abilities. So if you're like, okay, we're doing this, and not even if I don't agree, but I'm like, okay, this is the part where I need to buy in, then I'm going to fully buy in, because if I'm doing it half heartedly and everything like that, then it's almost self fulfilling prophecy. You're like, oh yeah, let's do this. Is this? And I'm like, oh, that's not gonna work. And then I act like it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So I feel like this is a really important thing, especially for men, especially for fathers, to be like, okay, would I rather be right or happy? And it's kind of like, yeah, I just rather be. I don't need the headache.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't know, Father's Day's coming up. So this is right on time. So that is your perspective. And I agree with it to a degree, because I definitely think that, number one, you can't change other people's minds. So at the end of the day, it's like, why go back and forth with people? That's what I think about when I think of the saying. Because the saying is, you can be right or you can be happy. And we already talked about this. Who's to say that I'm right? Who's to say that you're right? Because the saying goes, there's three perspectives: your way, my way, and the truth. Right? So it's like, even if I was right, how would my rightness get you to change your mind? Because you think you're right? We're just giving an example. We're in an argument. I'm right. You think you're right, but I can't change your mind.
I was about to say, there hasn't been an argument where you were right. So I don't.
95% of the time, I am right. The am I wrongs have proven that I am right. And you know what's wild is that actually it's like, again, unless it's something that is like the extreme case where there is a clear justice, there is a clear right and wrong. Most of the time, maybe it's not that even. It's not right and wrong. It's like, oh, I can see her side. Oh, I can see his side. You know what I mean? And it just comes to the middle type of thing. But if it's like a clear right and wrong, even then, like we've seen it all over America, racism, there's a clear right and a clear wrong. And those people think that they're right. But you can't change other people's minds. So it's like, what have Black people done? You know what? I'm going to be happy. That's why we happy. We're happy people. But you could be right or you could be happy.
See, I think when it comes to relationships, it does have something to do with the person that you are in the relationship with. If you're in a relationship with somebody who can't admit when they're wrong, then there you got a problem. If I see somebody, I could see your perspective from things. I actually seek out your perspective from other people if I'm not getting a clear message from you. And if I really feel like, okay, that was the better option, then I would admit to it.
Yeah.
But that's the type of person I am. But if somebody is dealing with somebody who just never thinks they're wrong,
right,
which is a know-it-all, and nobody likes know-it-all. So if I'm telling you no, this should go this way, and you're like, oh, this should go this way, and we're always doing it your way because you
right,
it's gonna be the end of a relationship.
Yeah.
And so that person who is that know-it-all is going to be like, yeah, I was right, but now they're lonely. Yeah, so it's kind of like, would you rather be right and lonely, or compromised and happy? And so I feel like sometimes marriage, what is this? The C's in marriage: communication, compromise, cunnilingus.
That's not the last one. No, it's communication, compromise, and man, what was the last C? Connection?
I don't know.
Oh man.
But it's like some 3 C's.
It's 3 C's.
But I feel like compromise is a really big deal.
And
this is one of those sayings that kind of go with that. It's almost like choose your battles. Make sure that you can compromise. Make sure that you can communicate, knowing that there is a bigger picture involved. So, like, if there, I mean, there's so many instances on a daily where I feel like I compromise that it's almost, I don't want to ever like lose myself, but when there's time to like, which is funny because I do feel like there is, and maybe I'll ask you this question. I feel like there is a foot to be put down, you know, when it's like, no, I'm putting my foot down. This is the law.
You put your foot down today.
Well, what?
When I asked you to help me cut my dress, you was like, I do not feel comfortable with it.
Oh, that was not
that.
Like
I know that wasn't a serious.
Okay,
that wasn't a serious foot down, but it was sometimes there is no. It's like you said. There's no compromise. This is my stance.
Yeah.
Put your foot down, even if it's not like a serious. It's not like I'm putting my foot down, but it's like, you know what? Hey, I said what I said. You know what I mean? And you did. Today, it was very off. I was like, oh, I said what I said. I am not gonna cut this dress up with you, girl.
No, because I see that another compromise because you end up doing it.
I was like, I'll do it.
I was like, if you draw a line that you want me to cut, then I would.
There was a line in the seam. The seam was the line.
If you drew the line,
but anyway, that's so yes.
Yeah. So you believe that? Do you believe that both, like the woman has a foot down and the man has a foot down, or is it just like a man thing, like how, I put my foot down?
Nah. I mean, and now gender normatives. I mean, we're just talking about boundaries. The foot down is literally like, actually, this is where it crosses the line. This is where I won't go. This is where I have to do a hard stop, and that's good. That's acknowledgement of self. So I think that both me and you, man and woman, whatever you want to say, like we both have that absolute, no, we're kind of not doing that. I mean, we've said this before though. Where is that? Where is that boundary? Because most of the time it's a yes. Most of the time it is a compromise.
See, I'm thinking more so about parenting.
Uh-huh.
And I can see, I mean, not necessarily with us, but it might be with us one time where it's kind of like, no, he can't do this. Like I could see a guy who grew up and he's probably like, what's it called? Homophobic or something like that. Or like he just really, he wants to do anything he think he could possibly do to make sure that his son is straight. Right. And so he's like, you will not put my son in pink or something like that.
Right.
Something that, sure. But it is in that guy's like, you will not put him in pink. I do not want to ever see my son in pink.
Right.
And I'm putting my foot down on that. So now what is the situation as the wife where it's kind of like he's wrong, but he's also wrong and being ignorant. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So what do you feel like the job is of the wife when a situation like that happens?
Right. Because she could be right.
I'm wearing pink right now, but yeah.
Yeah, she could be right, but is she going to be happy? Is the argument worth it? And again, choosing your battles is like, is this argument, is this disagreement worth the fight, worth the battle? And I think that you'd have to think about it because, I mean, pink, he can't wear no pink. And I mean, that's a conversation you have to sit down. If you were like, hey, nowadays parents are doing their kids' nails, boys and girls. Yeah, maybe you're like, you know what? I don't want you to go get Liv's nails painted. That's our daughter. You know, this don't have nothing to do.
I mean, recently she just got her ear.
She just got her ears pierced. Maybe you were like, and you know what?
Yeah, I did not want to go.
And I didn't force you to go, but you could have been like, I don't think she should get her ears pierced. That might be a little bit too, things like that. That's a discussion. And that's why we say every marriage is different. Every parenting style is different, all those things. But I do think that when it comes to right and wrong, or happy and not happy, that's more so like, that's the conversation between two people and figuring out, does this work for us? And like you said, if neither one of you are compromising people, then it's just not going to work.
Yeah, hard-headed.
It's not going to work. Or if one person always gives in, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I feel like is interesting, because like Father's Day is coming up right this Sunday, and when I talk to my friends and the fathers around, I know, like, we got 3 kids. I know how hard Liz has been working, right? But also, I also know all the compromises that I make every day, and it's kind of like I can see, like, I know I said this before, but like I could see how men could get frustrated so easily. I could see how a man could be doing feel like they're doing the best that they can, and the wife can still be like, you don't help me out. And he'll be like, well, I don't help you out, but all the bills are paid, or I don't help you out, but like I'm making sure that there's gas in your tank. I don't help you.
That's old school mentality. We're not going back that way.
No, I'm telling you, it's kind of like, yeah, me going to work every day is helping out, and then the wife is like, oh, that's not the type of help that I want or
that's
need.
That's not what people say. They say that's not enough. That's not the type. I want that and some. I want that and.
Yeah, and I can see how the guy is kind of like, I'm going to this job that I don't like. I'm doing this, like I'm sacrificing myself, and you're telling me that it's not enough. And then it leads to like men killing themselves sometimes, or like running away, or like doing stuff like that. Because like truthfully, if they're in a relationship, and we've talked about men's egos. We talked about this in previous seasons. If they're not feeling like they're enough, and they're getting reminded, and they feel like they're doing all that they can, and everything. Then it could easily turn into something like, something horrible.
Anything. An affair, an addiction.
Yeah, an affair, an addiction. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, those are great examples. So I'm saying, when it comes to, for guys, especially on Father's Day and stuff, like they say Father's Day, you get like the worst stuff and blah, 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 blah. But I feel like, I do feel like there is some happiness in the compromise. Yeah. There is just like, it's less of a headache. It's just, sometimes it's just like, yo, I don't need the headache.
Right. It's like, all right, you take it. And you know what, also, if you love that other person, or one, less of a headache, but if you actually care about that other person and it makes them happy, and you're kind of like iffy on it anyway, you're like, go ahead, and then you make him be like, oh, I just made him happy. It's okay. Then it makes you happy, and then we both happy. We just happy because boom, it's squashed, it's done. Whatever it is, it's cool. It's okay. And like, I feel like now we're in a place where also, because so much is going on, that little things don't matter. And I remember when I was younger, and every little thing mattered. It's almost like with Action, our son, it's like everything matters so much. And I remember that, like, he is my baby. I remember that type of feeling. And now we got so much going on. Something is like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, I remember being at work. As Action would remind me, I don't have a job right now.
Even though she's doing her job right now as we speak.
But I'm not going into work right now. And I remember when so many little things mattered. And it would be like, no, I'm right. It'd be like, actually, no, I'm on this number. I'm right. And I would come home and vent to you, like my first couple of years. And then as we got further in life, and I got more life outside of work, or I got more of other things mattering to me more, it was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't actually need to be right. Actually, I am right, but you take it, and now I'm happy. So it's fine. We don't have to have a conversation about it. So in that sense, I do like this saying.
Okay.
And I do agree with it.
Yeah. At first you were kind of off of it.
At first I was like, only because in an effort to help, like I'm a helpmate in nature. And so when I know I'm right, I want to let everybody come to the rightness. It's not about you knowing that I'm right. It's about us all being in agreement and doing the right thing, right? For me, that's what I was like. Well, then why would I? Yeah.
There is a saying. I don't know where it comes from. So, YouTube or like Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If y'all know, let me know. Instagram, let me know. TikTok, let me know. It's like, even though I'm wrong, I'm right. Even if I'm wrong, I'm right because I'm wrong for the right reasons.
Yeah, where was that from?
I don't know where it was from,
even if I'm wrong, I'm right.
Even if I'm wrong, I'm right because I'm wrong for the right reasons.
No, I actually think that's a saying that you made up.
I didn't make up the saying.
No, you did. I didn't make up the saying. We were on the podcast when you said it.
Yeah.
So actually, I think you're just quoting yourself.
No, it's somewhere. I need the internet.
I'm about to find it.
Yeah. Even if I'm wrong, I'm right because if I'm wrong for the right reasons. So I think that's true. Like I think that's if I am quoting myself, man, kudos to me.
You're quoting yourself.
But that's the thing. It's really if I'm thinking that I'm right and we're like all like, oh yeah, let's all be on the same page. We need to all be on the same page. But somebody is kind of like, nope, I can't be on the same page, especially in a relationship. Then it's just gonna cause strife, where somebody is gonna have to be like you said, hey, you got it. You know what I mean? Like this is not that.
Yes.
This is not that big of a deal.
I agree. So.
Welcome to the Am I Wrong segment. First comes up, then comes marriage podcast. This is part of the podcast where you tell me if I'm right or if Lindsay is wrong. This is going to be a different one. I'm going to do half, but truthfully, this is going to be a lot of Lindsay talking. I'm kind of putting her on the spot. She wanted to go see a Broadway play called Hell's Kitchen. Her friend is in it. It got a lot of Tony nominations and everything. And I wanted to see it. I like going to shows with Lindsay. And, she's retired. And so she has more time at night. And I've been working a lot at nights. And she went by herself without me. Even though I wanted to go. And she could say that she didn't think that I wanted to go, but I said that I wanted to go when my parents was in town, when my sister and my mom was in town. I did say I wanted to go. So, with that being said, I'm not going to do an Am I Wrong segment because she knows she's wrong. All right. She should have waited for me. I don't know why it was that important for her to go. But I do want her to take the floor and give us a review of the show Hell's Kitchen that you saw by yourself.
Yo, I am now, as a wife and mother of 3, getting into solo activities like never before. Aaron has always been into them. Like he would be like, I'm going to the movies, and he'd just go by himself. Or he'd be like, I'm going to dinner, and he would just go eat. Like, and I'd be like, what? How? Like, if I want to do stuff, I want to go with him. He's my best friend. And so that day I actually went to eat by myself and then took myself to a Broadway play. And recapping, I'm just proud of myself for like dating myself, as the girls call it. But okay. It was very important to me to go see this, for one, because I said I was going to go. And yes, my very good friend is in it. She's the dance captain. She's a star. I told her I was going to go, and I really needed to go. There was a timeline on it because they are up for 13. That's a lot. 13 Tony nominations. And the Tonys are this weekend. So if you know anything about Broadway, you need to go see shows before the Tonys come out, because whoever wins, the price is going to go up. Whoever loses, they might close immediately. Some Broadways, they don't even give you notice. They close right away. And so I was like, I have to go. I have to go before the Tonys, which is this weekend, y'all. So that was the urgency of it all. And I got a standing ticket. So, you know, it wasn't like an expensive front row seat or anything like that. But I felt like I needed to go. And we're at a place right now where most of the time we cannot do something together. That's the season that we're in. I'm going to talk about more about that later. But
tell us about the show.
The show was so good that we're going to go together. We're going to go back. We're going to go together. So it is going to happen. My friend did excellently. The songs, especially the first act, I thought were so powerful. They have really good singers. The storyline, for me, was okay. But the artistry of it all, the choreography and the singing, really, they did great work. And as somebody that enjoys music but is also a bit of a tough critic, I thought it was excellent. Excellent. What is it like? Is it a 5-star system? Is it a 3?
I mean, it's up to you. Is it kind of like, I don't know how you use...
I would probably give it a 4.3 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's high for me. Because that means I would go back to see it again.
What is Lion King to you?
Oh, well, I mean, bias or not, Lion King is going to be a 4.8 out of 5 because...
What's a 5?
What's a 5 out of 5? I don't know if you got a 5 out of 5. See, that's why I'm a hard critic. But anything in the 4 category, you've seen it again and again. The 4.5 and up, like Lion King, there's so much to see. You see different things every time.
What's your favorite Broadway and what number is that?
My favorite Broadway? Oh, man. Okay, my favorite Broadway that I've seen was Once on This Island. It's no longer on Broadway. And that was a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Because...
it was emotional.
I can cry right now. Okay. But yeah. So anyways, if we're doing an Am I Wrong segment, I'm going to just give it to him because Father's Day is coming up. His birthday is coming up, y'all. So I'm going to give it to him and say, he's right. I should have waited until the miracle opportunity of seeing it with him.
No, she went on a day where I was working late. And I have been working late a lot. But, I mean, she made a lot of arrangements for her to go. And she could have made arrangements to go on another day where the arrangers could have included me.
Number one, we only have a babysitter Monday through Wednesday. So it was not going to happen. But... you
can
tell wish us him a happy Father's Day. And
you can tell us your favorite Broadway. That would be really good. If you're a Broadway watcher or if you like musicals or plays. I'm more of a musical person.
Me too.
You can hit us up on the YouTube comments at First Comes Love.
You can Instagram or TikTok DM us at First Comes Love TCM. You can email us let's talk at firstcomeslove.com.
Okay, so we're in part 2 of You Could Be Wrong or You Could Be Happy.
Okay.
And the thing I think about when I think about like being wrong and being happy is like how does somebody like know that they're happy even though they keep taking L's?
Yeah, because sometimes that could make you not happy.
Yeah.
You're like, especially, and I do think of this a lot. I say it again. I think of action. He's like, you're not listening to me. And we're similar. If I feel like I'm not being heard, or if I feel like I had to give in when I was right, it's kind of like, you know, that burning in your chest when you drink dark liquor?
No.
Yes, you do. It feels like it's like a little bit of a sting. So it's like, am I happy? Like you said, am I happy taking this L?
Yeah, because like it's it's such a weird feeling when you think that you're right and somebody is like, no, we're doing it this way. But how do you deal with a know-it-all in a relationship?
I was gonna say, do you have the opportunity to remove yourself from that relationship? Because I'm not thinking about the people that are. If this person is a constant in my life, we're going to have to talk about things and submit to things and not really have you always thinking you're right and you always winning and all the other things. Now, if this person is not a constant in my life, I would have to separate.
Okay, so if you don't know, Lindsay and I both grew up at the same church. And we kind of grew up with the same like foundation and stuff like that. And there's always been a thing in the Christian church about like women submitting. Oh, you submit to the man is the leader, submit to the man, stuff like that. So how did you, knowing that I know this about, I know that you know this, you know that I know this.
Yes.
How are you able to get your way all the time? Because knowing that, like, it's just like, oh yeah, the man in the house and the way you were raised.
Yeah, but the complete understanding of that is like, wives submit to your husband, and then the husband is submitting to God, and therefore all things are working together. But for me, I think that, you know, if I love you and you love me, then we're in this level playing field. So even though I am submitting to you, the love that you feel for me, it's like, to me, I see it as this circle and not as like me beneath you and you above me. We're we're circling it up like this. So it's a constant love circle. But I didn't ever come with the understanding that submission means that I'm not getting my way. Submission means that I'm always wrong and you're always right. So that is not the case.
Okay, have you ever dealt in a situation where it was you and me and you did not get your way at all? And how did you get over it?
Man, that's
because that's the tough question. Yeah. How do you get over when you don't get your way?
It's like, what is the bigger picture? And so I always, we talk about this a lot, because especially with us, yes, what is the bigger picture? Do we both want the same thing? Am I willing to, this is drastic, am I willing to lose the relationship, standing my ground and saying I'm right?
Yeah.
Am I willing to jeopardize the connection that we have or whatever it is and have us not speaking for some days because I'm right? Or do I feel like, okay, man, I don't feel good about taking this L, but no, I mean, what is the bigger picture? Okay, he want to do it that way, but we're both getting it done. Let him do it that way. Okay. It's like the dishes. Case in point, we're going to give you a real case scenario right here. Your task are the dishes the majority of the time. And I prefer the dishes done before we go to bed every night. Sometimes you are beat, you are exhausted, you are whipped, you can't do no more. And I can understand that, because I understand exhaustion. So that is humanity. I understand that. Now, am I about to shake you awake and say, it's 11:30 at night, get these dishes done? No, because sometimes you're like, man, you do these catnap things where you go to sleep, you might wake up at 1 a.m. and the dishes, what I'm saying is, I want the dishes done. I would like the dishes done before I get up to make breakfast. That always happens. So What? Why are you smiling?
Because we were talking about holding tongues. I'm holding my tongue. Jesus.
What?
I am holding my tongue.
I was giving a real life scenario in the fact that I'm like, I want it this way, and you're like, you know, you gonna do it this way, but the umbrella of it all is like how you say, like, we want a clean house, or we understand that this is the task that has to happen. So let's compromise and see how we're going to get it done collectively. So what you holding your tongue about though? No. You tell me. Am I making something up?
This is an off-camera conversation.
Oh, no.
Some things need to be discussed off camera because I don't want to put her on blast.
Okay.
No, I actually like that example. That was a good example.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, and also all your terminology was very slave-like. You are whipped. You are beat down. You are your foot's cut off.
Exhausted.
I was like, oh my goodness.
I said exhausted, which you are.
You're gonna hear. You said whipped.
You whipped, beat.
Yeah.
These are all sayings because you do, like you said, you work hard, and sometimes you get home.
You even did like a little a slave. You can't work no more. Dang. How do you see my job?
These past couple of weeks, that's how you have given me the perception.
I rarely talk to Lindsay about my job. I just come in and seems like housework. I usually say fine. But like the last couple of weeks, I've been like, I need somebody to talk to. I don't even know. Who do I used to talk to about my job? But I was like, I need somebody to talk to. But yeah. I feel like what you were getting at, and it reminded me of, there is a certain level of maturity that a person needs to have. And in order for this saying to be right, in order to choose your battles, in order to not be a know-it-all.
You have to be mature.
Yeah, you have to have action, maturity. You keep referencing action. Action is
5.
Yeah. So he only can do so much. And he wants to be right so badly.
Yes.
And he wants it his way.
Yes.
Shine wants it his way. But we're talking about people who are not adult, not mature enough.
At all.
So if you're in a relationship and somebody is like, oh, it's my way, Usher, my way. If it's my way.
No, that was, she likes it. That was a whole nother thing.
Yeah. But still, if it's my way, my way, even saying that sounds immature. My way. You need somebody that has the emotional maturity, that has the relationship maturity, to be like, oh, let me look at your perspective. Oh, let me admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Let me admit that I feel like I was right. I feel like your plan didn't work, but it did work. So like, congratulations. Basically, like, oh, I'm happy that it worked. Like, I don't want somebody that not only are you mad that you didn't get your way,
but you also wish it wrong. You wish it the bad.
Don't wish for the downfall.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing. Mm-hmm. That's why I said if we're doing your idea, and I think that your idea is not the way that I would have did it. Mm-hmm. And we execute and it gets done anyway, I'm not gonna be like, man, but if we would have did it my way.
I know. See, I told you.
Yeah. Like, I know it worked out, but it could have worked out better this way. So I feel like it does have to do a lot with maturity in the person that you're dealing with. So I think that's all I got.
Do you have an instance, though, where you take L's? How do you get over it? Like, are you
I take L's constantly. But that's just, truthfully, it just comes with the territory. I take L's. I don't remember the last time I slept in my own bed.
Through the night?
No. So that's an instance.
I mean, I don't know about that one, but okay.
Well, like, last week? Nah, Liv's been doing whatever she wants. As she should, because she's the princess. But, that's one thing. So, like, in my job, sometimes I go to work, like, 5 a.m, and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, okay. And I have to get up with the boys. So whatever time the boys if I'm not at work and the boys are asleep, if we're taking a nap, if we're doing anything where it has to do with rest, The person whose rest gets disrupted the most is mine if we are both here. And that's like a thing. It's like a L. So those are two instances. And I could go on and on. But it's like Happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Father's Day to all the dads that are sacrificing and doing all the things that they need to do to make sure that their wife is happy, that make sure that family's secure and safe. So we appreciate all the fathers out there, even though the bar is really low. And I could walk down the street with orphan, or I could walk down the street with a baby, a fake baby doll, and probably get praised for being a father, which is funny to me. But Happy Father's Day, everybody, and that's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Happy Father's Day. This was a very good saying as far as what's your perspective on it. So tell us what you think. You can be right or you can be happy. How you feel about it. Do you always need to be right? DM us, Instagram or TikTok. First Comes Love, TCM.
And you can be right and happy when you leave a comment on our YouTube page at First Comes Love.
Email us. Let's talk at firstcomeslove, thenComesMarriage.com.
Talk to you Tuesday.